That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. 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 All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
For sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B, and of course, Just Jack Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, my fault, guys. as you'll see very shortly, that this is a very long chapter, and surprisingly, there were multiple words that were not previously defined in the Torah studies that we've done. So it's a very specific chapter with very nuanced descriptions of cause and effect relationships between connecting with the Creator and then going outside of His will and doing, you know, the things that are opposite to the Creator. So I'll give the disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religious perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. So, now that I've given the disclaimer, speaking of origins and how they contradict the scriptures, the origin of Christmas is not scriptural at all. And in fact, it's anti-scriptural. I'll let you all do your own research on that because that's not what this stream is about. But I had to deal with a lot of, I had to say bah humbug many times this year. So, all right. See if I do this, if it'll update it. Yes, it does. Okay, good. Because I just finished translating probably the last 5 verses, probably 10 verses, between last night and this morning. So, all right. This chapter is interesting because when I was in churchianity, this chapter was often quoted in the blessings. In other words, everywhere where it says you'll be blessed, the church that I was a part of would be like, I'm blessed on this, and I'm blessed on that, and I'm blessed on this, and I'm blessed on that. But they would only read what they're blessed on, not the requirement for the blessing, because it says, if this, then this, right? So they don't want to read the if, they just want to read the then, right? So, because they believe like if you join the religion, if you say the prayer, you're initiated in, and therefore you get all the blessings regardless of your lifestyle, regardless of your actions or your thought processes. You're just in, and you get all these blessings just because you're a special guy. And that's not scriptural at all. It's a if and then statement, which is, that's what we deal with in the real world,
Mm-hmm.
cause and effect relationships. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, verse 1.
And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Jehovah your Elohim, to guard, to do all his commands, which I command you today, that Jehovah your Elohim shall set you high above all nations of the earth.
Okay, and again, this is the callback to what I believe is the 10 words. If you see here what I have highlighted, it says Shema Shema. Again, it's here in obey. Going back to Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. And my mouse died, so I'm doing the touchpad thing, so it's a little slow working around here. But here again, we have the right here, Shema Shema. And then, and I will set you above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. So it's above all the people of the earth. And it's not above all, it's from all the people, not above all the people. So slightly mistranslated there, which we went through way back then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, verse 2, sorry.
And all these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you, if you obey the voice of Jehovah your Elohim.
Okay, so I like the fact that this says it'll overtake you. It'll reach out and get you. Okay, so these blessings are to come and get you. Okay, verse 3.
Blessed are you in the city, and blessed are you in the field.
Okay, so this is where typically the churchianity would start reading. Blessed am I in the city, blessed am I in the field, and so on and so forth, without the condition that says if.
Hmm.
Right. All right. Verse 4.
Blessed is the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your livestock, the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flocks.
Okay.
Blessed is your basket and your kneading bowl.
Okay. The kneading bowl is where you would let your dough sit if you were rising it.
Hmm. Blessed are you when you come in, and blessed are you when you go out.
Okay.
Yehovah causes your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. They come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways.
Okay. Come on. Sorry. It's so much worse without a mouse. All right. Go ahead.
Yehovah commands the blessing on you in your storehouses and in all to which you set your hand, and shall bless you in the land which Yehovah your Elohim is given to you.
All right.
Yehovah does establish you as a set-apart people to himself, as he has sworn to you, if you guard the commands of Yehovah your Elohim and walk in his ways.
Oh my gosh. This is so frustrating. I'm so sorry, guys. All right. 10.
And all the peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yehovah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you.
Okay, so this again, many, 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 many verses that goes against the statement that the Creator's name is too holy to be spoken, too holy to be known. But yet, like, the whole idea is that you're called with the name of Yehovah by being part of Yehovah. So the other thing is when people want to designate a specific person of interest because they carry the name of Yehovah. Many people in the scriptures carried the name of Yehovah and was called by the name of Yehovah, therefore, because they were part of Yehovah by doing the will of Yehovah. And why this is important is because there's this whole argument about whether or not a man is a deity or if a man could replace the creator as deity, I should say, is the more specific question, which I do not believe so. I believe the creator is the creator, the deity um, that we must serve. Okay. 11. Sorry.
And Yehovah shall make you to have plenty of what is good in the fruit of your body, in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land of which Yehovah swore to your fathers to give you.
Okay. Verse 12.
Yehovah opens to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you shall lend to many nations, but you do not borrow.
All right. So it says in here that you'll increase the nations. All right. 13.
And Yehovah shall make you the head and not the tail, and you shall be only on top and not be beneath, if you obey the commands of Yehovah your Elohim, which I command you today to guard and do. And do not turn aside from any of the words which I am commanding you today, right or left, to go after other mighty ones to serve them.
Okay.
And it shall be, if you do not obey the voice of Yehovah your Elohim, to guard to do all his commands and his laws which I command you today, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you.
Okay. So the church people will not read past verse 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because, all right, the blessings are there. Um, but I've never even seen them read 14, but it's not it's not for them to read what the curses are because they're out of the curse because they just believe that the religion has made them out of the curse. But it's again, it and curse is a bad definition. It's the dysfunctional things that happen to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then you're going to see a lot of parallels from the first part to the second part, but then it gets more specific.
Uh-huh.
All right, go ahead on verse 6.
Cursed are you in the city, and cursed are you in the field. Cursed is your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed.
And cursed in this case is like, like something you want to get rid of. Yeah, something to spit out. All right, cursed.
Cursed is the fruit
18.
of your body, and the fruit of your land, the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flocks. Cursed are you when you come in, and cursed are you when you go out. Yehovah sends on you the curse, the confusion, and the rebuke, and all that you set your hand to, until you are destroyed, and until you perish quickly, because of the evil of your doings by which you have forsaken me.
Okay, so what he's saying is what the actions that you're doing that are against the creator, like uh purposefully and um rebelliously, that these curses will happen. But the thing that I want everybody to pay attention to here is that it's Yehovah that sends the curse, not an invisible bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it also explains further that I this is further in the scriptures, but it says, I set before you life and death, please choose life, because I choose to bless you, but you bring a curse upon yourself, right? So the creator would that he would only bless and not curse, but that doesn't mean that the cursings do not come from Yehovah. Both blessings and curses come from Yehovah, not an invisible bad guy. All right, 21.
Yehovah makes the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. Yehovah strikes you with a wasting disease, and with inflammation, and with burning, and with extreme heat, and with the sword, and with blight, and with mildew, and they shall pursue you until you perish.
And then we see like this effect that happens when they get into the promised land and they're doing everything good, and then they start mixing in other nations, and then they start losing battles, and they start getting sick. They start getting overrun with animals, and um, then they you know turn against Yah altogether, and they get completely pulled out of the land. They get captured and put into slavery in other nations. So this does come to fulfillment later on in the scriptures. Okay, go ahead.
And your heavens which are over your head shall be bronze, and the earth which is under you iron.
Okay, so what this means is, if people aren't catching this, this is basically like you're not going to get any rain. Your ground's going to dry up, which means you can't grow anything.
Yehovah makes the rain of your land powder and dust. From the heavens it comes down on you until you are destroyed.
Okay.
Yehovah causes you to be defeated before your enemies. You go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and you shall become a horror to all the reigns of the earth.
Okay, so see here it says like if you were in the blessings, then the enemies will come after you one ways and flee 7, and then if you're in the curses, it's the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm. And your carcasses shall be food for all the birds of the heavens and the beasts of the earth, with no one to frighten them away. Yehovah shall strike you with the boils of Mitzrayim, with tumors, with the scab, and with the itch, from which you are unable to be healed.
And there's other verses that says that if you keep the commands of Jehovah, you will no longer have the sicknesses of Egypt.
Yehovah shall strike you with madness and blindness and bewilderment of heart.
Yep.
And you shall
And
be...
and the strange thing about this is I've seen in my own life, when I completely turned against the creator,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in an insane part of my life, I did see the madness and the blindness and the bewilderment of heart. I've lived that. It's not great.
Doesn't
Not
sound
it's
doesn't
not fun.
sound doesn't sound fun. All right. And you shall be groping at noon as a blind man gropes in darkness, and not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and plundered all these days, with no one to save you. You become engaged to a wife, but another man does lie with her. You build a house, but do not dwell in it. You plant a vineyard, but do not use its fruit.
Yeah, and I see that happening a lot with people as well. Not with me, thankfully. Ever since I've been married, I've been good. So.
Yeah.
All right. 31.
Your ox is slaughtered before your eyes, but you do not eat of it. Your donkey is violently taken from before you, and it is not given back to you. Your sheep are given to your enemies with no one to save them.
And again, this is reiterated in like the history books, Chronicles and Kings, when they lose the land.
Your sons and your daughters are given to another people, and your eyes look and fail for them all day long, and your hand powerless. A people whom you have not known eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all these days. And you shall be maddened because of the sight which your eyes see. Jehovah strikes you in the knees and on the legs with evil boils, of which you are unable to be healed, and from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. Jehovah brings you and the sovereign whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone.
Okay, so this is actually part of the problem because um, the sovereign who you set over you. This actually started the initiation of stuff going wrong. As soon as they cross over to the land, they're like, we want to be like the rest of the nations and put a king above us. And he says, if you put a king above you, you're going to lose, your produce. You're going to lose your daughters because they're going to become his wives, and all this stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, that's what we want. And the creator's like, why? Like, why can't just the creator himself be your king? Like that's the whole premise of when you choose a sovereign above you, this is what's going to be the inevitable thing. You're going to be taken into captivity because you worship the man above the creator.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 37.
Thus you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a mockery among all the peoples to which Jehovah drives you.
Okay.
You take much seed out into the field, but gather little in, for the locust consumes it. You plant vineyards and shall labor, but you neither drink of the wine nor gather, for the worm eats it. You have olive trees in all your border, but do not anoint with oil, for your olives drop off. You bring forth sons and daughters, but they are not with you, for they go into captivity. Locusts possess all your trees and the fruit of your ground. The sojourner who is among you rises higher and higher above you, but you come down lower and lower.
So if you remember, the sojourner is someone who's going to the land to try to become part with Jehovah. And if you're coming off the path and then they're going towards the path, they're going to be blessed. You're going to be cursed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because again, this is reiterating the point that there's no special boys, right? If you think that you're, one of the chosen people and you're not living within the lines of Jehovah's will, then you're going to be cursed. Like maybe you'll be at war for generations for some reason. If you claim to be the special people and you're not doing what Yah says, then you're not the special people anymore, and stuff's not going to go well for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He lends to you, but you do not lend to him. He is the head, and you are the tail.
Speaking of the sojourner, by the way.
Yeah. And all these all these curses shall come upon you, and they shall pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Jehovah your Elohim to guard his commands and his laws, which he commanded you.
And again, this comment of the voice of Jehovah, that also goes back to 19:5, where it says, if you will hear and obey in my voice and guard my covenant. So yeah, it goes back to that again. 46.
And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and on your seed forever. Because you did not serve Jehovah your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty. You shall serve your enemies, whom Jehovah sends against you, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in need of all, and he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you.
And a yoke of iron is, you'll be a hardworking slave,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So a yoke is something that you put around an ox to do the work, and iron, of course, is, um,
heavy
a harder
metal.
service. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Heavy burden.
Jehovah shall bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you shall not understand.
Yeah, that's concerning to me too. The nation from the ends of the earth, a language who you don't understand. They understood plenty of the nations around them, but this is saying like if you keep it up, there's going to be nations that are even further out that come in and take over. 50.
A fierce-looking nation which shall show no regard for the elderly, nor show favor for the young. And they shall eat the fruit of your livestock and the fruit of your land until you are destroyed. They leave you no grain, nor new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of your cattle, or the offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you. And they shall besiege you at your gates till your high and fenced walls, in which you are trusting, come down in all your land. And they shall besiege you at all your gates in all your land, which Jehovah your Elohim has given you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and your daughters, whom Jehovah your Elohim has given you in the siege of distress, in which your enemies distress you.
This has actually happened historically, when the Romans took over the Israel area. There was a town on a hill, a walled hill, that was in captivity, and they got to the point where they were eating each other because they were starving to death. Crazy.
Oh my God. The man among you who is tender and who is very delicate, his eye is evil against his brother, against the wife of his bosom, and against the rest of his children whom he leaves behind.
I find this funny. A man who's tender and delicate, a man who's not a man is the
Mm-hmm.
way I would read that.
Right.
Not doing their responsibility, very tender. Don't hurt my feelings, or I'll cancel you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Against giving any of them the flesh of his children that he eats, because it is all that has been left to him in the siege, and distress with your enemy distresses you in all your gates. The tender and the delicate woman among you, who has not tried to set the sole of her foot on the ground because of her delicateness and tenderness, her eye is evil against the husband of her bosom, and against her son, and against her daughter.
And it's a shame because, again, modern society kind of lines up with this a lot. Unfortunately, it's very sad. Like women taken off because they're living their life, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
And against her seed which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears, for she eats them in secret for lack of all, in the siege and distress with which your enemy distresses you in all your gates. If you do not guard to do all the words of this Torah that are written in this book, to fear this esteemed and awesome name, Jehovah your Elohim.
But you don't need to know it, right? You shouldn't know it. It's not important, right?
Right.
I think it's pretty important. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Jehovah shall bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and lasting plagues, and grievous and lasting sickness.
Okay. So this, somebody might pull out for the generational curses, and I've always, there's other verses that say that the curses will not be on the son for the sins of the father and vice versa. So what this is talking about is generationally they're turning against Yah, turning against Yah, turning against Yah for generations. So the curses continue. But as soon as they turn back to Yah, like when they come back from Babylon, they cry out and they're like, "We're going to go back. We're going to do the right thing." Then they became blessed again, where like the king found favor and helped them rebuild the tabernacle and or the temple, and the wall and all this other stuff. But they still had to be at war until they were fully committed. All right, 60.
And he shall bring back on you all the diseases of Mitzrayim, of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this Torah, and Yehovah does bring upon you until you are destroyed.
So even sicknesses and plagues you haven't known before. Okay.
And you shall be left with few men, although you had become as numerous as the stars of the heavens, because you did not obey the voice of Yehovah your Elohim.
Again, this is a callback to what I believe is the 10 words. Obey the voice. Okay.
And it shall be that as Yehovah rejoiced over you to do you good and increase you, so Yehovah does rejoice over you to destroy you and lay you to waste, and you shall be plucked from off the land which you go to possess.
Like, thank goodness we got him out of here.
And Yehovah shall scatter you among all the peoples from one end of the earth to the other, where you shall serve other mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone.
Yep. And definitely there's scattering, and definitely there's all sorts of crazy worship. All right, 65.
And among those nations you are to find no rest, nor have a resting place for the sole of your foot. But there Yehovah shall give you a trembling heart, and failing eyes, and sorrow of being.
And again, a lot of people who have no purpose in life, they don't understand who they are or where they are. Like if you're on an in an infinite vacuum of nothingness and you're on a speck of blue dust,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, yeah, you can feel that way for sure.
And your life shall be hanging in suspense before you, and you shall fear night and day, and not be certain of your life. In the morning you say, "Oh, that it were evening," and at evening you say, "Oh, that it were morning," because of the fear of your heart which you fear, and because of the sight which your eyes see.
And again, this is when I was going through the worst part of my life. This was my everyday experience. Oh, that it was nighttime. Oh, that it was daytime.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And Jehovah shall bring you back to Mitzrayim in ships, by a way of which I said to you, you are never to see it again, and there you shall be sold to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one to buy.
All right. A slave without an owner. Uh, That's wow. It's a crazy thought. Anyway,
It is a
shout
crazy
out
thought.
to TC Zamman, Joseph Osborne, Aisling717. What's up, Cammy? I am Lone Frog, Alex Javier, Joseph Osborne. I think I called him out twice. That's cool. Harmon, Tony Coriolis, Shifty Shady, Vincent. Oh, I lost my place because it just jumped down. All right. Good times for all. What's up, Zach? Lunderground, John Keeley, Clightning, Sea Lightning. I don't know. Forgive me if I'm reading that wrong. Sorry. Steph 40, Bian Diaz, and Truman Burbank. All right, cool. Um, let's see. All right, Alex Javier was like, I would like to say Happy Christmas Kwanzaa for the many who interacted this week. BTW Hanukkah, is Hanukkah all right? Um, yeah, I have mentioned it in the past, but it's based on the Maccabees, which is a book that was taken out of the scriptures, but it's the history of Persia taking over the land, and or was it Rome? Oh my gosh, or Greece. It was one of those ones. Oh, it was Antiochus Epiphanes. So, I think that's Greece. And when they got kicked out of the land and they came back and they rededicated the temple, they had missed the Feast of Tabernacles, aka Sukkot. And so they made an 8-day dedication of the temple, and they said that we should have a remembrance of this of when we got and restored the temple back. It is not a commandment of Yah, but since then it used to just be a remembrance, and now it has become a adaptation of Saturnalia, which is why they light the lights, because Saturnalians believe that they have to light fires to rebirth the sun and all this stuff. So Hanukkah it literally means to dedicate. It's dedicating. And it has nothing to do. The Hanukkah that exists today has nothing to do with scripture, even according to history. That's not the way that they did it. So it's it they were making it like a second Sukkot, basically. But again, that's not Yah's will. It was invented by man, and the way that they have it now is completely of other worships that they incorporated into this new religious festival. All right. Alex Javier again. The verse that said more will come from farther out from the corners of the earth, or something that reminds me of some have talked about the land beyond the ice wall, or four quadrants talk. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much detail on that, but I have a theory of for further regions bring in the worst nations that were, I would say, the oldest nations that exist in our plane. But again, this is pure speculation, and don't quote me on that. I hate when people try to hold me to my beliefs, and it's like I have no evidence for any of this. This is just theoretical or philosophical idealism.
Yeah.
Shout out to NDB
Mm-hmm.
and Lord Racer. All right. Any shout outs from any of the other channels?
I do not see any chatters, but shout out to people watching at Rumble or Rockfin, and also X and Facebook. Have a wonderful day.
And I would also say, like, this chapter is a little hard to read because it's like, oh, we're reading about all these curses. However, it's like, why worry about that? Worry about like trying to figure out how to connect to the creator more so that you're in the blessing part. It's like when people want to dwell on the book of Revelations, like, what does this mean? Does this mean that this will happen or that will happen? And I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just worried about if I'm in the right standing with the creator, not about whether or not you know, I'm part of those who get tortured this way or that. Why worry? You know, live the best life. Try to connect to the creator as much as possible. And I would suggest spending some time in nature away from screens. That helps a lot.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
just like, grounding, if you don't know anything about that, it's just walking barefoot in the dirt and the grass, and just getting out in nature will help you get closer to the creator. Just simply getting away from the programming that we have with all these dang screens. And I don't mean that just okay, well, if I just watch good content, no, it doesn't matter. Like, get away from the screens altogether.
Yeah.
Just get away for a little bit. You don't have to like swear them off. I mean, information's good, but
It's
it's
also
good to get
good to
away.
take breaks and enjoy nature, and
Exactly.
it's good for
Exactly.
you. A little
Well,
bit of digital
I
detox has never hurt anybody.
exactly. And I also want to say that this, according to like a scriptural perspective, there are two seasons in the year, and it's the early and the latter. And then, you know, one portion of the year has longer days and one portion of the year has shorter days. And as of now, these are shorter days.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're starting to get
I have
longer.
been taking,
From now on,
yeah,
they're going to get
it is
longer.
starting to get longer, but I'm saying during the winter, I've taken a lot of naps
Yeah.
because the days are shorter. So,
Yeah.
alrighty.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. And we hope you have a wonderful, restful rest of your day.
And the earth is still
And
flat.
the earth is still flat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.